Let's be real, no one ever thinks they will be the one on the layoffs list. But if you happen to get affected by the massive layoffs, there is exactly what to expect and how to handle this with the clarity and control. Because yes, it's emotional, it's overwhelming, but it's also a moment where staying calm and informed can protect you more than you think. And let's start from the breakthrough moment, the call. Usually that's where it starts. You get an invite for a short, unexpected meeting, usually it takes 15 minutes, and you see your manager and an HR person included. If you can, take the call from the private and safe space where you won't be interrupted. You might be not able to process everything they say immediately. Quite natural, your brain freezes a bit in this kind of situations, but that's okay. Usually the speech is very much scripted and very much general, so you don't need to react, argue, or even say much. Just listen and give yourself some time to process it. But the one thing you should remember, don't sign anything right away. This is really important. Even if you feel pressure and caught off guard, you don't have to sign anything during the call. Take time to digest the information you just received. Even if the layoff doesn't mean the termination for you and they offer another role, for example, in the same organization, that also happens quite often. Take your time to digest the offer. Remember that as long as you haven't signed up documents, you are still officially employed and get your regular compensation. That gives you the time to breathe and understand what's actually being offered and what is the options you are leaning in. If you are directly impacted by the layoffs, take time to research and understand your severance package in the country you employed. If you are on probation period, unfortunately there is not much to expect for the compensation, but if you have an unlimited contract, there are more things to look into. If you are, for example, like me, employed in Germany, what you can expect is at least 3 months notice period payoff. Usually that's the standard notice period in Germany, but double check what is written in your contract. Plus 1 extra month of pay for every full year you've been employed in the company. For example, if you worked over 3 years in the same organization, your compensation offer can be 6 months' salary, 3 months for the notice period and 3 months for the tenure compensation. But this is not guaranteed, hence there is no strict regulation of the severance package in Germany, so you might need to negotiate it, but it's always great to have the benchmark, understanding what could be the starting point for your negotiation process. And if you are employed in the company in another country, you need to research the regulation of that country to understand what size of severance package is expected. And also make sure you know when and how this will be paid. Some companies pay everything upfront, others in stages, depending on whether you found a new job within the notice period or not. So make sure it's clear to you before you sign up the termination paper. And if you have company shares or RSUs, check your vesting timelines. You might still be eligible for your final grant if your termination sign-ups will happen after the key vesting dates. That's why be practical and check the dates that serves your case the best, because in this situation, you need to act in the best interest of yourself. And of course, if you can talk to a lawyer or someone who's been through a layoff already, do this, because they can help you to understand your rights and what's fair in your case. In Germany, it's possible also to have an insurance for this sort of situation when you get a lawyer consultation immediately, but I personally don't rely on that insurance, but you can always decide what works better for you. And one more important thing in our world of social media is staying silent publicly. If the whole situation feels weird and unfair and you might want to post about what just happened to you, please don't. Be angry, be upset, do not push yourself to be completely emotionless in this situation, but just keep your honest opinion only to the people you can trust. Until you have officially signed the paperwork, stay quiet about everything related to the layoffs. It's not gatekeeping, it's protecting your interest, because sharing confidential details or posting emotional reaction online can be actually considered as the break of your agreement and may cost you your severance. So keep communication private, do not confirm anything until everything is finalized and you have official mutual agreement with your employer. The urge of telling the truth may cost you thousands of euros, so be aware about that. And last but definitely not the least one, advice that I want to give you if you are impacted by the layoffs, get to know your supporting options. If you are employed in Germany, after 12 months of employment, you are eligible for unemployment benefits, Arbeitslosengeld 1. Register as soon as possible with Agentur für Arbeit, ideally the same week you receive the news. It's not just financial help, but it also gives you access to job support programs, workshops, and retaining options. And if you are not living in Germany, check the local social safety programs and supporting systems that exist in your country. There is a moment to make sure that the safety you have around you is actually active. And also remember that losing a job as an expat might trigger urgency around your residence permit. That's why check out how you can apply for the job seeking visa if your current visa connected to the current job and layoffs actually impacting also your visa termination status. If you happen to have permanent residence already, it should be fairly easy for you because you are not dependent on the specific employment in this case. And remember, being laid off doesn't define your worth or skills, but how you handle it, calmly, thoughtfully, and informed, can completely change the outcome. So if you're watching this and wondering, what would I do if it ever happens to me? Now you have the practical action plan that you can follow, and if the time comes, you will be ready to face the reality. Let me know if you have already faced layoffs in your life, what was your experience, and what have you learned from that. And of course, let's see each other on the next video that is available on my channel. Take care and see you very soon. Bye bye!